How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to my channel, The Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and everything relating to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And today we do have some major MCU news concerning Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, including a list of familiar heroes who have reportedly already signed contracts to appear in Marvel's Spider-Man 3. And not to mention some rumors going around that Miles Morales could be making his MCU debut in Spider-Man 3 as well. And then we also have a list of villains who are said to be making appearances in Spider-Man 3. Some we've already seen from the MCU, but some that we've seen from other universes. As it turns out, the Avengers Tower may actually turn into the Oscorp Tower very soon. And to end it all off with a bang, it seems like we have figured out what Doctor Strange's primary role is going to be and how exactly he's going to help Peter in Spider-Man 3. So I'll break it all down in this video, but first, if you're new, be sure to subscribe for your chance to win this week's giveaway, which is an Iron Spider Funko Pop. To enter, just subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment down below. So it does look like a full-blown Spider-Verse is going to be happening in Spider-Man 3. However, whether or not that's going to take place throughout the entire movie or just a small part or just at the very end is unclear. Doctor Strange is officially confirmed to be in Spider-Man 3, taking on the mentor role for Peter Parker, the role that Tony Stark once had. Now, obviously, Doctor Strange deals with the multiverse, and Doctor Strange 2 is going to be all about the multiverse and how it's in madness. And then you top that off with the confirmed news that Jamie Foxx's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is going to be in Spider-Man 3 as well. However, it doesn't stop there. Over the past week, there have been many different reports from many different sources stating that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will both reprise their roles as their respective Spider-Man and appear in Spider-Man 3 with Tom Holland. So over this past week, Fandom Wire reported Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are signing on to reprise their respective Spider-Man roles for the upcoming Spider-Man 3. Editor-in-Chief of Geeks Worldwide has said they haven't officially signed the deal, but Kevin Feige is interested. And Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer said, "What I'm hearing are Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man 3. They've been in talks for a while, and it's almost official, but Tobey Maguire is kind of playing hard to get." So of course everybody is just super pumped that we could be getting the true live-action Spider-Verse in Spider-Man 3. And it gets even better because last night FandomWire.com did report that according to what they have found out, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have officially signed on to reprise their Spider-Man roles. And if that wasn't enough to get you super excited about it, there is a possibility that Miles Morales could appear in Spider-Man 3 as well. In fact, it does seem like it is confirmed that Miles Morales is going to be entering the MCU. Last night, in a report from MCUcosmic.com, they stated that they've heard from a credible source that Miles Morales has actually already been cast. They went on to say they don't know who Marvel has cast, only that Marvel has cast a Miles Morales. But his MCU debut in Spider-Man 3 would make a ton of sense, especially if you're going to be introducing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man characters as well. And let's not forget that Miles actually already does exist in the MCU. In Spider-Man Homecoming, we met Aaron Davis, played by Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. Aaron Davis is the uncle of Miles Morales and even mentioned his nephew in Spider-Man Homecoming. And of course, there was even that deleted scene for Spider-Man Homecoming where Aaron Davis calls Miles on the phone. There are many ways to include Miles in the MCU, but if we're doing a Spider-Verse in Spider-Man 3, there could be a very good chance that that could be his official debut. And you have to wonder, if we're going to have Tom Holland Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and Miles Morales, could we also possibly be getting a Spider-Gwen? This would make sense considering the fact that Marvel is trying to include more female superheroes. And of course, it is confirmed that Olivia Wilde is going to be directing a female Spider-Man movie. Now, at this point in time, it's actually unconfirmed who the main character is going to be, whether that be Spider-Gwen or Spider-Woman. And it's unconfirmed on whether or not it's going to take place inside of the MCU, although she did hint a little bit that it will take place in the MCU. So the timing of all of this makes you wonder if indeed we'll be getting the debut of Spider-Gwen or Spider-Woman. Now, as far as the actual plot goes, in a report last night from FandomWire.com, they said that Nick Fury is going to be making his return. And of course, that makes perfect sense because in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home, we saw Nick Fury. He was on what was assumed to be the Peak, the headquarters of SWORD, the space counterpart to S.H.I.E.L.D. And according to fandomwire.com, Nick Fury's new galactic version of S.H.I.E.L.D., which fans of the comics known as S.W.O.R.D., will be involved in the film, which imply epic galactic repercussions of the Spider-Verse being introduced. So Spider-Man 3 is shaping up to be an extremely important movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we don't just know about the heroes that are returning, we know a little bit about the villains as well. Now, if Marvel's plan is to have multiple Spider-Man in one movie, then you can bet that their plan is to have multiple Spider-Man villains in the movie as well. FandomWire.com reports that Kraven the Hunter will in fact be in Spider-Man 3. This is something that we all already assumed, especially considering the fact that the writer of the Kraven movie said that Kraven will fight Spider-Man in that solo film. So it looks like his feud with Spider-Man is going to start in Spider-Man 3. So that's a villain from Tom Holland's main MCU/SPUMC universe. Then we have a villain from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man's universe, and that of course is Electro. But in the new report from FandomWire, we have a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man villain coming in as well. And that of course is the Green Goblin and Oscorp. FandomWire states that the Green Goblin will make a return, however, it is unclear if Willem Dafoe will be inside the Green Goblin mask since the character died in the Sam Raimi films, or if the Spider-Verse timeline will explain that. They also say that this version could also be the version from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, they do go on to say that Oscorp will finally make its first appearance in the MCU. Many assume the Avengers Tower was purchased by Oscorp, and while FandomWire cannot confirm that final piece just yet, they can confirm Oscorp will be a reality in Spider-Man 3. Now, Oscorp happening in Spider-Man 3 could actually be part of the main plot. For a lot of people, having the Spider-Verse appear in Spider-Man 3 is a dream come true. But at the same time, many people were hoping for a film that is just mainly focused on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But I actually think that's still what we're getting. Yes, there are many different possibilities with the multiverse, but I do think Marvel is still going to try and focus on Tom Holland. I think that the multiverse is only going to show up for just a small part of the film. And if I had to guess, I would assume that it's going to be at the end of the film. We've heard reports that WandaVision will tie into Spider-Man 3, and then Spider-Man 3 will tie into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which of course is confirmed because Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man 3. So if the multiverse will be in Madness in Doctor Strange 2, it will most likely explode into madness at the end of Spider-Man 3. I think when we enter Spider-Man 3, the multiverse may be kind of broken, and I think this may be due to the blip. Perhaps some characters that were snapped out of other universes end up getting snapped back into our main MCU timeline. And this could be how we first see characters like Electro. Then gradually throughout the film, we could see other villains pop up as well. And then by the end of the film, when everything is bursting into madness, Doctor Strange could introduce Tom Holland's Spider-Man to Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, along with any other Spider-Man that we may get. Now, at the core of it all, in Spider-Man 3, there still lies a problem, and that is everybody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And this is where Doctor Strange could really come in handy. There is a story in the comics where Peter Parker's identity gets revealed. And Peter Parker, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, and Mr. Fantastic decide to erase everybody's memories of him. This could be why Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man 3, besides the multiverse aspect to it. Because the problem has to be solved, people can't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, so Doctor Strange could come in and erase everybody's memory of Peter Parker being Spider-Man. Now, it's a pretty big deal in the comics and isn't that easy for Doctor Strange, but the movies tend to change things a little bit. And I think helping Peter Parker deal with everybody knowing that he is Spider-Man, especially the enemies, is going to be Doctor Strange's primary focus at first in Spider-Man 3 until the multiverse explodes. This would focus more on Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Then at the end of the film, the multiverse could be set up and a true Spider-Verse film dedicated to itself could begin. That way we get everything we want. We get a movie focused on Tom Holland, and then we get a live-action Spider-Verse. But we'll have to wait and see what is to come for Tom Holland in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Verse news. And let me know your preference in the comments down below. Would you like a full-out Spider-Verse movie in Spider-Man 3, or would you like it to be focused more on Tom Holland and then have a separate Spider-Verse movie? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like the video, and for live updates you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. As always, this is Warren, and thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.